As always, Max Pain Rod does provide the perch wrenches right here along with the Allen keys for adjustability. They also have this right here, which contains a Max Pain Rod sticker, the installation instruction, and the Max Pain Rod catalog. In this baggie right here, we have the collars for the different years of Honda forks. So if you're using the EG or DC or maybe even the EK, you have to install this collar. If you're using the suspension for the EF or the DAs, you run them without. This bracket right here bolts onto the body of the coilover to allow you to bolt down your brake lines. There are 2 of them there. The SP2 coilover still has the dampening right here on the top. You can go full left for softness or you can go full right for hard. And I also do notice that the spherical top hat is a little bit different than the SP1 coilover. The SP1 has this giant gap in the middle where the SP2 seems like the ball bearing spherical top hat is integrated into the top hat and eliminates that giant gap that used to be here before. That's good to know because I feel like this may help with the height adjustability to be able to get more low out of it. Although we're not going to go low with this suspension at all, they are still rubbered in the rear. If they had spherical front and rear, this suspension will be pretty solid, I think. It also says online that the SP2 coilovers uses a different fluid on the inside, which is more for like performance enhancement. I don't really know that, but the only way to really know is to go and drive on it, because I do have the experience with the basic street. I do have experience with the SP1 coilovers. Now I can compare it with the SP2. Now I've mentioned this to you guys before in all of the previous Max Pain Rod coilover install. I always check the preload to make sure that they are nice and tightened. And if you prefer to have it a little bit more loaded, you can always preload the suspension a little bit more. Okay, so by the looks of it, the coilover seems to be pretty loaded. That's good to know. As I mentioned earlier, the spring rates in the front looks a lot thicker than the rear, and you can definitely feel the weight difference, right? According to the website, the SP2 coilover front shock spring is upgraded to 11K, while the rear is upgraded to 7. On the SP1 coilover, it's actually 8 in the front and 5 in the rear. Although this is 11 and 7, I still would prefer the rear to have a little bit stiffer spring rate. But I've never really had an issue with the 5 before with the load, so I am going to load the rear a little bit more, but I think I'm going to leave the front alone. You guys already know this. Double check the nuts. This is nice and tight. This one feels really good. Okay, so this is why it's important to check. This is the front coilover, and I can still turn it. Make sure you double check your suspension out of the box. Okay, nice and tight. Go ahead and throw the shock in here. EGDCs, EKs, do not forget the collar. $14 on the top. $17 on the bottom. I'm gonna turn the knob all the way to the right for full stiff. Same goes for this side. You guys already know, if you're interested in any Max P and Rod product or the coilover itself, the link is always in the description below, as well as the discount code to save a few bucks before checkout.